Hello and welcome back to part 6, I believe it is, of my modded Minecraft video log series. For those unfamiliar with this series or what I sort of am doing with it, it's basically a whatever I'm playing at a given moment and I want to talk about it within modded Minecraft. Any world, any pack, anything. I just play in my own time and I talk about anything I want to talk about in a video. So we're currently back in the All the Mods 9 world. Doing some more Gregtech. We've got our microprocessor mainframe. This was simultaneously a really easy process to get and a really difficult and frustrating process to get. Let's pull up the quest page for it. So to start off with, I think the first thing I did was the vacuum freezer. That was my priority numero uno. Getting a vacuum freezer up and running was my #1 priority. I struggled a little bit on it just because I believe... Let me check out the quest page. Okay. I think I didn't put the muffler hatch on it, is the issue that I had. And then when I put that on... Oh no, it was the auto maintenance hatch. So it only forms with a auto maintenance hatch, not a normal maintenance hatch, to my understanding. I might be completely wrong though. Either way, this is formed now. So that's how I'm getting nichrome, which I use to switch out all the coils for my EBFs. Now, watching some videos on Gregtech recently, I'm planning on ripping out this EBF setup and making a new one because it seems like you can wall share them and they all share the same input and outputs. So what you can do is, by the looks of things, parallelize off of, so for example, you could have 3 EBFs and both of them sharing the input hatches and output hatches or whatever. So that way you can just dump all your items into there and then have all 3 running the recipes at the same time, I think is my understanding of it. But that's a plan for future me. So the vacuum freezer was for nichrome originally, and then I switched it over to use for canthal, silicon, titanium, tungsten steel, and ultimate. The reason I did that is because it's faster than the chemical bath, the chemical bath recipes and shit, which this is no longer used for anything. I have no use for that chemical bath anymore. So that was priority #1. I made the vacuum freezer and the nichrome coils, and then I ignored the quests for a little bit and did what I usually do, which is bum rushing the energy hatches. So I believe it would be the EV energy hatches that we were trying to make. I believe it was that. Yeah, so we needed, once it loads, we needed a few things. Sodium, potassium, we already had. We needed the aluminium cable, which required thin polyvinyl chloride sheets. I had already been making polyvinyl chloride for something else, so I already had that. That was pretty easy. The MPIC chips are an EV cutter with MPIC wafers, which require HV laser engravers, phosphorus doped wafers. That stuff I already had set up and running. Or not set up and running, but that was pretty easy to set up. The main issue was the EV cutter, because I needed, EV MPIC cutter, EV cutter, because that requires all the electric motors, the conveyor modules and whatnot, but also ultimate. That was a bit of a struggle to get, because ultimate you need, let me pull up the ingot, that's a EBF recipe, isn't it? Yeah. You need ultimate dust, which requires cobalt, chromium, nickel, and molybdenum, is that how it's pronounced? I remember I set up a processing line. So basically I've set up new ore processing lines upstairs. We'll get to that in a second, but that's basically how I was able to make the molybdenum dust. And then there were some other struggles I remember having with the cutter, EV cutter, the EV electric motors. It was mostly, I think, the neodymium I'm ore processing, and the titanium you get from titanium ingots, which are made in the EBFs. Titanium ingots, I just followed this quest page. Rutile, I believe I'm getting through ore processing. Yes, I believe I'm processing aluminum to get rutile. Yes, I am. So processing aluminum to get rutile, and then titanium tetrachloride I'm making over here in my chemical processing area, my original one. I believe it's here. Is this titanium tetrachloride? Yeah, I think it's these two. These two are titanium tetrachloride. That's my slowest bottleneck right now, which I need to upgrade. What are these? These are #2. Yeah, I need to upgrade these to the EV chemical reactors, so it's a bit faster. And then once I got the titanium, everything from there was pretty easy. Oh, I also needed tungsten steel. So neodymium I was getting from ore processing. I needed an EV assembler. That was a bit of a pain in the ass to make, but it's mostly just getting the conveyor modules, robot arms, all that shit. The tungsten steel I'm getting through the EBF. Yes, tungsten steel, which is made with steel and tungsten dust, which required ore processing upstairs, which also required an EV mixer. So it was just getting all the basic materials needed for the basic EV machines that I would need to process the materials so that I could create what it is that I needed to create. And then once I did that, the rest of it's pretty easy. EV machine hull, same aluminium cables, polyethylene sheets, lots of titanium. I need to set titanium on autocraft. I just haven't got around to it yet. I think I'm... Titanium plates. I believe... Am I taking the fluid solidifying route for them? Because I believe it's cheaper. Yes. So I'm fluid solidifying titanium because it's cheaper. Because I believe that's... Actually, it's about the same in terms of efficiency with the cutter recipe. But it's better than the extruder, which I don't use the extruder recipes or the 4-channel recipes. It's mostly just the fluid solidifying or the cutter recipes, which I think 144 is this more efficient? It's definitely faster, I think. Oh no, this is faster. Yeah, keep the fluid solidifying in price. Okay. Anything else down here that I want to discuss? I've got more EV machines down here. What are these for? These are for tungstic acid and tungsten dust, which I need for the tungsten steel. Let's quickly pull that on up. Tungsten steel dust in the mixer. Yeah, steel and tungsten dust. The tungsten dust, I'm making tungstic acid, which require... I believe the tungstic acid is used for... Tungstic acid is used to make the tungsten dust, yes. So you need to put tungstate and hydrochloric acid through a chemical reactor, I believe. Yeah, chemical bath, sorry. And that creates tungstic acid, which then can be electrolyzed into tungsten dust, hydrogen gas, and oxygen gas. Which hydrogen and oxygen, well, that's pretty easy to get, but the tungsten is what I very much needed. So yeah, upgraded my EBFs. That was priority number 1. If you look at the IV quest page, I've unlocked some of it already, just because I've already gone through the process of getting the EV energy hatch. MPIC chips. Do I not have any in my storage? Because I just want to complete that quest. MPIC chips. I'll sell that up while we're doing other things. Yeah, so that's everything down here, I believe, covered for the time being. Upgrade some... I believe this one here, this assembler, this is for the coils and the machine hulls, because you need an EV assembler for them. I sound sick listening to myself right now. I also set up this teleporter. I don't know if I covered it last episode, but this basically just takes me back up to the ME controller setup up here. Nothing much has changed up there, I don't think, so we won't cover any more of that. Let's talk about upstairs, because I believe this upstairs wasn't here last time we were here. I literally just used the copy-paste gadget and just copy the bottom and just paste it on top and put some new lights in. Let's talk about ore processing first. So ore processing, I'm pretty proud of this setup. Definitely room for improvement, I reckon. I heard a noise. One moment, please. Sorry about that. Okay, so ore processing. Basically, I have this all on a subnet. And how I've got this subnet set up, this looks a little bit confusing, but basically this is my main network wireless connector. This has a storage bus, a tag storage bus set to insert only with the forge raw materials tag, which will insert raw materials into this system. So it'll only store raw materials, and anything that's part of this setup, like anything that this setup produces, goes into here as well. Like, for example, I don't know how the water's getting... Oh, no, sorry. We'll get to the water and the sodium sulfate here in a second. But basically, yeah, this is the setup we have so that I can just have all the stuff localized into this system. It makes it easier to get things in and out. And it's also a lot more lag-friendly because I believe having subnets is a lot more efficient on lag. This storage bus is set to extract only, so I can extract anything that's in the system. For some reason, this one wasn't working unless I set the priority to 2000. Because this one's on priority 1000, so we insert raw materials here first. This one is set to 2000 because otherwise it wouldn't pick up the stuff that's in the system. I have no idea why. But for example, like for example, the refined tungstate ore, which is not being processed, and I have no idea why. It would not show up in my system. Like, it would not show up in my wireless terminal. I could not figure out why. Shifted the storage bus priority up, and it just worked. No idea why. This storage bus here is set onto the main network, which the ME interface is on the main network, and it can only pull distilled water, and sodium persulfate. The sodium persulfate, I believe, is being used for rutile. Yes, it is. So part of the aluminium processing line is you can use persulfate instead of distilled water, I believe it is, or water. Where is it? Aluminum. Let's just go this one. Yeah, so you can chemical bath with sodium persulfate to get the purified aluminum ore, same as this one, but you also get rutile dust at a 70% chance, which I believe this is at LV, it's a 70% chance. So I believe it'd be like 80% chance now, which is good because I need rutile. There's not really any other effective methods of getting rutile, is there? Unless we're like a little bit later in the game. Bauxite. Oh, that's guaranteed outcome. How do I get bauxite? Is bauxite warp? No, even bauxite's not 100%. The JEI lied to me. I'm really curious what would happen if I click this. What the fuck? That's so bizarre. Okay, so yeah, that's what these chemical baths are for. Basically, I've got the macerator, ore wash, thermal centrifuge, macerate setup. So far, I haven't needed anything else. This has been the best setup. Export buses and ME interfaces, these are all set to go into the subnet. So they pull from the subnet and push into the subnet. The only thing that pulls out of main network is this storage bus right here. That is the only thing that's allowed to pull out of mainnet, and it's just for these 3 items. The rest of all the rest of the logistics are localized to this setup right here. Yeah, and each of these are the HV versions of the machines, except for maybe these. Yeah, the distilleries, which I'm using for increasing my distilled water backlog, they are the standard MV ones, whereas these, like ore washers, for example, are HV. And I think I've run out of ores to process, to be honest. Where did I have that set up? I had a setup up here, I believe, to flow my my chunk destroyer shit all the way up into the system. Is this still, oh, that's empty now. I'm actually gonna steal that and put that in my backpack. Awesome. So actually let's double check something real quick, because I wasn't sure if that was working, because the raw materials shit worked before, but it's not working now, it seems. I don't know if it's something fucky with the priorities, but so let's actually have a look at this. So stag storage bus. So let's have a look. Let's pick a random like thing in here. Let's pick dolomite. I don't know what dolomite's used for, but dolomite. 597. 260. Yeah. So for some reason it's I'm struggling to get it in because I want the unless what if I went like this? Because I believe extraction lower priority first. So let's drop it down to -1000. And this one is set to 2000 for insert. So dolomite, how many's in here? 196. Go like that. 260. I think that should work. So let's go like refined. Okay, so it looks like we're able to pull. Okay, that seems to have worked. So the extract. Actually, let's like what's something that'll be a good example. Let's go actually refined aluminum ore. Refined aluminium, and we'll just wait for it to pop up slowly. Okay, so we can see. Awesome, that's perfect. That fixes that problem in its entirety, because now it inserts into here on a higher priority and it extracts from here on a higher priority. This one's set to extract only, so I can't push anything in through this unfiltered storage bus. So that's how this is set up. Now let's talk about this. This was the next thing I did. This took me, the night before last, I probably spent about 7 or 8 hours getting this all automated. It was so unbelievably frustrating, because initially I wanted to have it on a subnet. just so I could keep everything localized within the system, and I could keep all of the storage in bulk in these drawers. That was not something that was possible, unfortunately, because it seems like, so we were trying to craft methane, and methane requires lightly steam cracked naphtha. The problem with that is the naphtha would be steam cracked, it'd be pushed into the drawers, and my system would recognize that I have more naphtha in my storage, but the auto crafting process wouldn't recognize it, so it'd be like stuck on like, oh, crafting 12 buckets of steam cracked naphtha, even though I had already crafted it. It was in my system. My auto crafting couldn't figure it out, so I had to move this all onto mainnet. But let's talk about how everything works. So let's start off with the distillery or distillation tower. This is just getting oil, heavy oil, pumped in and automatically processing it down into its related byproducts. I have EV energy hatches for both. That is so I can process at IV speeds, as you can see here. Running perfectly, no major issues. This one gave me a bit of a shits building it because I accidentally had the controller block here instead of here. And then I figured it out and I realized that's why it wouldn't form, and then it formed properly. For context, every single machine I've ever built in Gregtech that is a multi-block, I've had struggles trying to get them to form properly. Especially this one, but we'll get to that in a second. This one, the, what is it? The pyrolyzed oven is just taking in dark oak logs and using that to create more heavy oil, along with this oil sand centrifuge here, which is creating more heavy oil, which I can then distill into other garbage. The pyrolyzed oven, I had it built perfectly the first time. The only issue was I'm like, oh, I'll go to the higher tier of machine casings. No, you're not going to go to the higher tier of machine casings. It will only form with ULV. That gave me the shits for about 30 minutes, and then I did some Googling and research, and I figured it out. That seems to have worked. So that is all sorted out. This works perfectly fine. The rest of the hatches aren't really being used. It's sort of just this output hatch here. Is this a hatch? No, that's a bus. This output hatch and this input bus are pretty much all I'm using right now. This one, this cracker was the bane of my existence, and I was so unbelievably frustrated with the process of this stupid fucking piece of shit machine. So basically the issue was, I had it built perfectly. No issues whatsoever. Nichrome coils, clean stainless steel casing, all of the hatches in the right spot, but I could not get it to form. It turns out I was an idiot. And the whole time, this bottom block was missing. Now, how did I find out about that? For context, I have never posted any question to Reddit ever regarding modded Minecraft. I'm usually really good at researching and figuring out for myself, but I'm sitting there staring at the JEI page for the multi-block, and I'm like, I can't figure out what I'm doing wrong. Is JEI lying to me? So I made a post to Reddit, and then two interesting things occurred. So the first one was the guy pointed out that it was the bottom middle block missing, and I was like, well, fuck, I feel like an idiot. And then the next morning I wake up and I get a notification, and someone has just recognized me. Like, I'm not even kidding. It was such a bizarre experience for me, where it's like, I have this YouTube thing that I do as a hobby. It's fun. I've made a small following, like over 1,000 people, 1,100 actually. We've gone up quite a bit recently, and I was like, okay, I'm enjoying this. I like that people are enjoying my content, but having someone come into a Reddit comment section and just be like, oh, hello, Onion Man, and I'm like, the fact that they obviously had picked up what I was like, picked up the layout of the world, like they looked at the design of the world, and like, because the video was like sort of me going like this around it, and they like saw the contents of the base and recognized the fact that it was me and went out of their way to comment about it. That was an absolutely mind-blowing experience for me. Like I was super blown away by that, and I really appreciated it. I was just like, that was something special to me. I just want to talk about that. So in terms of the automation, I've got this storage bus on maximum priority. I think it's, actually, I'll check it up one higher. I think it's the highest priority. These are all fluid storage drawers with max diamond upgrades and void upgrades. So they can hold up to, I think, like a couple 100,000 buckets. Yeah, 664,000 buckets. And Gregtech gases are fluids, so they can get stored in here. I do need to add more drawers, but that is neither here nor there for the time being. That being said, I think that's about it in terms of the multi-block setup. This one's on a subnet. So the only way, because the ingredient buffer, the issue with the ingredient buffer is trying to pull from the ingredient buffer into the system. So I got it to work. It now works. That's fine. The ingredient buffer isn't the problem. It's the fact that since it's two different gases, the gases will go into both hatches, and I don't want them to go that. I want one gas into one hatch, one gas in the other. And this subnet system just works perfectly fine. Pattern provider pushes the items into the system. They go to this storage cell, and then I have this one here to monitor it. And then these export buses export whatever I want it to export. This one don't even have filtered ME interface. This one pulls it back into the main system. So that's how that works. Yeah, that covered. Okay, so let's talk. Oh my god. Let's actually reclaim these rewards. I get an SMD diode out of it. Did I do anything else that I want to like get the quest for? Iridium. What did I get iridium for? Oh, that's right. So I attempted to record this video yesterday, and weirdly, I recorded without audio, and I was pissed off because it was like a 35-minute recording and I lost all of it. But I was talking about the base and like how I wanted to figure out a way to declutter it. And I was talking about this, and down here, I just had iridium dust built up in this system right here, and I could not, for the life of me, figure out why. Because obviously this world was my first foray into modded Minecraft in a long time. So I didn't know what I was doing, and I still don't know what half of this shit does, to be honest. And I also built this setup this time last year. So it's been over a year since I built this setup. So I'm sitting there like, why the fuck was I processing iridium through mechanism ore processing? Because iridium is not used for anything in, like, to my knowledge at least, it's not used for anything in, smelting iridium ingot. It's not used for anything really outside of Gregtech at all. Oh, maybe it was for the Hellfire Forge, maybe? But I genuinely don't know why. Can you fuck off? I don't know why I was processing iridium, but I have iridium. Sorry, I'm sick. Fuck me. Go away. God, I hate these fucking phantoms. Die. That tangent aside, what was I talking about? I'm very tired. It's been a long week for me. So next up was this chain right here. So I built the pyrolyzed oven, didn't do the fluid drilling rig, did the cracker, already discussed it. This I already did in the last tier. Didn't do this until the very end. It was this process. So getting up to this point was easy. It was from here on up and here on... It was mostly just this chain right here. That was the big struggle. The fluid heater, easy. Steam, no problem. I've already covered why methane was a problem and why automating the cracker was a problem. But basically, it was just a massive pain in the ass. Very frustrating. It took me about 7 hours, but now it's working. So this setup is for cracking our naphtha. To get the naphtha, I believe it's over here. Yes, so it's hydrogen gas and sulfuric naphtha to create naphtha and hydrogen sulfide. The hydrogen sulfide is not being used for anything right now, to my knowledge, so it creates the naphtha. That naphtha gets steam cracked in this cracker with steam and naphtha, creates lightly steam cracked naphtha. And then that lightly steam cracked naphtha, I believe, is used for something. It's used for... Oh, I'll get to that in a second. So methane. I went through the propene route. So propene's being made in here, I believe. Yes. Oh, so the lightly steam cracked naphtha is then chemical reacted, distilled into propane. That propane is then used with isoprene. Oh, propane is then distilled, I believe, or chemical reacted into propane and isoprene. This one right here, that's propane. This one here is butadiene. Butadiene is used for raw styrene butadiene rubber. Butadiene is being made with the steam cracked naphtha. And yeah, it just gets distilled on program circuit 6, sorry. This one right here is for benzene, steam cracked naphtha on circuit setting 4, and it's distilled. This chemical reactor is used for styrene, which is ethylene and benzene, which I believe benzene's being produced in here, ethylene we're already producing down there, and that is on circuit setting nothing. There's no circuit setting. It just uses benzene and ethylene to create... Yeah, benzene and ethylene to create styrene and hydrogen gas in a chemical reactor. This setup right here is basically the entire chain again. So this one is raw styrene butadiene rubber. That is created with butadiene, styrene, and oxygen. We already have all that. Pretty easy. The centrifuge is just passively producing oil sands. The liquid... Oh, we needed polydimethyl siloxane. Polydimethyl siloxane is used by... is silicon dust, water, chlorine, and methane, which I'm already producing. Produces 3 polydimethyl siloxane, 2 buckets of hydrochloric acid, and 2 buckets of diluted hydrochloric acid. This one right here is for the liquid styrene butadiene rubber. That is just the 9 styrene butadiene rubber in a sulfur dust to create the liquid form of it, which is chemical reacted. And then this one is the liquid silicon rubber, which is the polymethyl siloxane and sulfur dust. All of that is used in the process of getting these diodes. So this whole process took me about 7 or 8 hours. Like all of this together, all of that took me probably about 15 hours. This right here, getting all of this took me about 20 minutes. I literally, and most of that was waiting for the items to craft. I literally just built a few. Oh, it's downstairs, not here. It was literally just waiting for items to craft. Mostly the the EV assemblers. These ones, HV? Oh, the HV assemblers. Sorry. The recipes are all the best version of said recipe, the one that gives you the most outputs. So this one is tantalum, carbon, polyethylene to get 32. This one's 32. This one's 32. I think they're all 32, except maybe this one. 16. What was the issue with that one? I don't remember. Tantalum I'm getting from... How am I making tantalum? Oh, it's processing tantalite. Tantalum, yeah, is gotten through ore processing. Yeah, so you get tantalite dust with a chance of tantalum while processing tantalite. The tantalum is then EBF, I believe. How am I making tantalum carbide? Actually, I have no idea what I'm doing with this. Am I just smelting it? I think I'm just smelting it to get the wires. I believe, yeah, just smelting it to get the wires. So that's all that set up. And then the microprocessor mainframe, that I remember having a small struggle. The biggest struggle with this one was getting the, which one was it? It was, yeah, just having to make the HV circuit assembler, which was a little bit of a pain in the ass. But the thing in the cool room that I did want to discuss, that I didn't discuss earlier, is the cutter. So the EV cutter requires this. It requires ultimate buzzsaw blade. To get ultimate, I believe I already covered how I'm getting ultimate. I'm not entirely sure. But the whole ultimate... Oh, wait, I think I did cover ultimate. Yeah, the chromium... But yeah, okay. I covered how I got the ultimate, but I was using that to get the cutter for the buzzsaw blade. That should be everything covered. I don't think anything else has changed too much since last time you were all here. I think that should be it. So, that being said, a bit of a shorter video today, I think. Only 20 minutes this time instead of 40 minutes. A lot less to cover. It was a pretty easy process. Mostly the struggle was just getting the multi-blocks to work. That was such a pain in the ass. I haven't made mercury, barium, calcium cuprate, just because it's only used for wires, and I don't need wires. I have flux points. So that's what I have set up. Thank you all very much for watching. I plan on fully getting started into IV next, which looks like it's going to take me a while. I have a slight sneaking suspicion that this is going to take me the longest out of any quest page chapter, and the finished product is probably going to be the longest video when I cover everything, because this is so complicated. At least it seems complicated. It might just be super fucking stupid easy. The biggest issue right now is space, and also management of layout, I guess. I don't like how this place is laid out. I get lost very easily trying to find where I've put certain things. So I'm considering maybe, I don't know what to do, because I like this factory, but the problem is it's so fucking laggy, but I don't want to build anywhere else. I don't want to build in the void. I built in the void last time, it wasn't fun. I don't want to build in the void. I don't want to, I don't feel like going through and delagging the entire base, because that would take literally dozens of hours. So I'm like, what the fuck do I do? And also, I don't like how I've laid this place out. Like, I do like how I laid it out, but it's like kind of ugly, and I want to make it look a bit nicer, but I don't know how to. It's going to be a process, but I'll figure that out. Anyway, until that point, thank you all very much for watching, and I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day.